I've never met somebody with a fantastic life who did not completely and utterly believe in themselves. I've never seen somebody massively succeed and they didn't believe in themselves, ever. I've never seen somebody who just allows life to happen to them and become blown off course by some sadness, end up doing massively monumental and important things. I've never seen it because it's competitor. It's player versus player. And there's people like me out here. So when that breaks your heart and you take a few months off and she ends up on my jet, and if she leaves me afterwards, let's say she just likes to leave men, I don't care. I'm still working. You're still crying. You can't possibly ever beat me. I'll continue to beat you into eternity, as will my bloodline. You will sit and pay the price for the rest of your human years. Even your ancestors above you are disappointed in you, and your offspring for the rest of your lineage will look up and say, my great-great-great-grandfather was a loser because he broke his heart, and now we've been broke ever since.
Yeah.
I always knew I was famous. I had to wait for the rest of the world to catch up. I told everyone I'm going to be world champion. Years before I even had a British title, before I even had an English title, I just started fighting. I was like, oh, I'm the next world champion. Yeah. And I just started saying it, but I said it with genuine conviction. I knew I would be the best. But people will constantly tell you to not talk in a way which is full of conviction. People do not like you to be arrogant and have an ego. This is the worst thing ever. Let me tell you the fact. Your life is never going to be worse if you walk through the world believing you are the fucking man. I am the man. There's no one on this planet who can do shit I couldn't do if I put my mind to it. I don't give a fuck how good you are at piano. If I decide to play piano, I would be better than you at piano. And I believe that. And when you go through life believing you really, really are the man, there are very few downsides. The downsides are everyone's going to call you everyone's going to call you everyone's going to call you a dickhead. You're going to lose a few loser friends. Who cares? What you are going to gain is other people on the same path. Even before I was world champion, I knew I was going to be the man. And I was happy to say that to anybody. When people called me arrogant and stupid and deluded, I just sit there and look at them and say, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to be the man.
You know, one of the things that stupid people have that makes stupid people quite successful sometimes is irrational self-belief. And the smarter you are, sometimes the harder it is to irrationally believe in yourself. But if you're dumb enough, you can be arrogant enough to have this irrational self-belief, and you will see some people be very successful and you say, how is this idiot successful? Because they're so stupid that they don't consider the idea of failure. Their mind isn't advanced enough. They are not cognitive enough to consider betraying their own being. They only see outside. They don't self-reflect. If you're intelligent enough to self-reflect, you need to do it so that you can come up with feedback so that you can constantly improve. But be very aware of the trouble that can come from a mind that's not 100% on your side. My mind is 100% on my side in all ways. If I have to do something difficult, even if my body can't do it, my mind believes I can do it. And you'd be amazed how much of life, even in the physical realm, is mental. If you believe you can run a marathon, you can run a marathon. If you don't believe you can run a marathon, you can't run a marathon, because a marathon is hard. By truly believing you can do it, then you will your body to a different level than if you don't believe you can do it. It's the same with absolutely all things, including making money, including the gym, including dealing with mental struggle. When you're in the trenches, there's people who give up. There's people who quit. There's people who sow FUD. There's people who feel sorry for themselves. There's people who want an easy way out. And there's other people who say, listen, this is a test. And the only way we're going to get this done is to be irrationally positive all of the time. Most of you do not use your mind for what it's for. You've forgotten how to imagine things. But you cannot close your eyes and vividly imagine. You can't give yourself goosebumps. You can't evoke an emotion in yourself anymore. You should be able to close your mind and imagine the life you want to live so viscerally to the point where you can taste it, so that this reality, the one outside of your mind, feels like nothing but a prelude, a ramp, which allows you to get where you want to go. The mind is that powerful. If you ask any champion of anything, they always envision themselves as champion all of the time. And the reason they do that is, one, so they feel confident, but two, so that if they don't become champion, they're more angry and more motivated for the next attempt. So that's the mentality and the mindset you have to have. Your mind is your number one ally. A lot of you have been sabotaged internally by your own mind. Your own psyche is working against you. When you have negative thoughts that prevent you from being the best version of yourself, you should understand that your mind is attempting to betray you, and you should feel disgust because you have enough enemies. There's enough people in the opposing trench who are prepared to destroy you for self-interest that the idea of you not having every single part of you on your own side is truthfully sad. You cannot allow your own mind to betray you ever. It has to be 100% on side all of the time. Then you can go and get things done. But the idea of self-betrayal is something most of you are struggling with and you didn't even realize. Anxiety is self-betrayal. Panic is self-betrayal. Procrastination is self-betrayal. Laziness is self-betrayal. Lacking motivation is self-betrayal. All of these things are self-betrayal. So as a thought experiment, we're going to sit here and I want you to actually think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself? How many times have you didn't feel like doing something you knew you were supposed to do? How many times has your mind tricked you into procrastination or being lazy? How many times has your mind convinced you that it was okay to fail and lose even though you didn't try your best? How many times have you sought comfort in excuses? Don't worry about your enemies attempting to crush you. If you actually analyze most of your failures, you're going to see the majority of them come from self-sabotage. Your largest enemy on the planet today is yourself because you don't have your own mind under control. And one of the things that's crazy about the world is your mind is one of the few things you can control. You can't control very much else. You can only control your mind. It's the only thing you have control over. So if you don't control it absolutely, you're going through life with no control over anything. You don't control your own mind, which means by extension, you do not control your life. You do not control your woman. You do not control the weather. You don't control nothing. You're just an empty vessel going through life with zero control over anything. You can control, once your mind's in check, your reaction and attitude to things. And once you're in a position like me where you never betray yourself, where your mind never lets you down, my mind knew exactly what I had to do. I did not miss a single day's training. I did not lose my mind. I did not go mental. I did not have a breakdown. I was fully professional in all things. I got as much work done as I could possibly do. I was extremely productive. I used the experience for what it was. My mind never betrayed me. If you listen and look back on most of your failures, you're going to see that it was your own mind that betrayed you. And until you identify that pattern and get yourself in the habit of ensuring that is impossible, then you're always going to lose against people who fully believe in themselves.
Now, here's what we know. That people don't do what they know in life, but what they do is they operate within the context of the vision they have of themselves. So one of the first things I ask you to do is I want you to look at your life right now and think about something that you'd like to have or something you'd like to create for you or your family. Now, one of the first things I want you to do is don't worry about the inner conversation that you're going to have. Don't worry about how you're going to do it. That's going to come. You will find the way. You'll become the kind of person that can attract the people, the resources in order to make that become reality. But I want you to be mindful of your inner conversation. I remember once I was sitting in an audience and Zig Ziglar, he was giving a speech. And within myself, I said, I can do that. And I leaned over to the guy next to me. I said, how much do they pay him to do that? And he said, $5,000. I said, I know I can do that. And then on the way home, when I was driving back to Miami, Florida, my inner conversation kicked in. And it said, lesbrown, you can't do that. You don't have a college education. You don't have the money. You don't have the contacts. What makes you think that you can make more in 1 hour talking than you've made working for a whole month? The wealthiest place on the planet is the graveyard. Because in the graveyard, we will find inventions that we never were exposed to, hopes and aspirations that were never acted upon. Because most people allow that inner conversation to keep them from ever pursuing their goals. Why is it that most people don't ever reach their goals or live up to their true potential? One is fear, like the fear of failure. The next is the fear of success. I was working on a major project. I panicked and I walked away from it and gave it to someone else because I didn't believe that I could handle it. So that a lot of people become comfortable. They stop wanting anything. They become satisfied. The other thing that keeps us from reaching our goal is not feeling worthy. Because see, when you don't feel worthy of your goal, you will begin to unconsciously engage in self-destructive behavior, like procrastinating. Something else that keeps us from reaching our goal, and that is we spend so much time complaining and blaming everybody. I'm reminded of a friend of mine who talked about the fact that one day he was walking by and there was a dog on the porch, and this dog was just moaning and groaning. And he asked the owner, he said, "Why is this dog moaning and groaning?" And the owner said, "Because he's laying on a nail." He said, "Well, why doesn't he get off?" He said, "It's not hurting bad enough for him to get off." How many of you know people who moan and groan and complain about life? They might moan and groan about their job. "I'm sick of this job," and never do anything about it. No, that can't get you where you want to go. That cannot create your reality for you. The other thing that keeps most people from realizing their true greatness and their true potential, circumstances. Given my circumstances, ladies and gentlemen, I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable mentally retarded, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. But here's what happened. I had an intervention in my life. A man who saw something in me at a time that I did not see something in myself. And he asked me to go up to the board and write something on the board. And I said, "I can't do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" "I'm educable mentally retarded." He said, "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality." Some of you are going to go back and look at your dreams and brush them off. Whatever goal that you have in mind, I want that to be a goal that will challenge you. What is it that you looked at some point in time and you decided that you couldn't do it? Bring it back out there. How are you going to do it? That will come to you in due time. So you don't get in life what you want, ladies and gentlemen. You get in life what you are. You've got to begin to take a look at your life and look at where are you right now? What gives your life a sense of fulfillment, a sense of joy? In all the areas of your life, your professional life, your personal life, your family life, once you begin to determine that, that takes you to the next step. And that is, now you've got to decide that you deserve that. Repeat after me, please. I deserve the best that life has to offer. The number one killer of all the diseases we have, heart disease. The truth of the matter is that the majority of people suffer their first major heart attack on Monday morning between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. People getting ready to go to jobs that they don't like. You see, when you're not pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. You've got to believe in yourself. I was doing work for a major corporation, and they were having a major downsizing. The people that were working there, they approached them and said, "Listen, we will give you a buyout package of $300,000 if you take it within this time frame." Ladies and gentlemen, only 50% of the people that were eligible took this. If I'd been there, I'd have gone to ask for your check. I would have taken that money so quick and had other people checks. See, ladies and gentlemen, life is too short trying to play it safe. You can't get out of life alive. So there's no safe position. You can die in the bleachers or you can die on the field. You might as well come out on the field and have a good time, right? So you got to be bold in life.
Doubtless. You can't have no doubt. You can't have no doubts. I'm not talking about other people believing for you. You got to believe this for yourself. You got to believe I can do this. I was called for this. I was curved for this. I was meant for this. You got to be doubtless or you can't harvest. If you aren't doubtless, you can't possess it. So if you are going to go into harvest, somebody shout, "I believe it."
Doubt's like a plague, and one of the worst is self-doubt. The guy doubts himself, doubts if it'll last that long for him, doubts if he can do that well, doubts if he can accomplish all that. You can imagine what damage that does to your future. So here's the key. Turn this coin over and become a believer. The understanding of self-worth is the beginning of progress.